Looking at the title of this video, you must be thinking, how the hell can something with such a dark, depressing atmosphere, covered in blood and death, actually help with depression? Well, let me explain. Like many people, especially in my age bracket, early 20s, I struggle with depression. This is nothing new or dramatic or crazy. A lot of people nowadays do for various reasons, and I understand that everyone goes through this type of thing in their own way. With that being said, this is the way that I went through depression and how I got over it. I can trace my depression back to when I was about 13 or 14 years old. Back then, I didn't think much of it. I would get sad or go through a mood swing and not really think twice about it. I was never that type of person that liked to be real open about how I was feeling. I didn't want to burden anyone with my stupid emotions, and I especially didn't want to tell my parents because I didn't want them to worry about me over something so silly. I mean, this whole thing would pass, right? I just became a teenager. This was par for the course of being a teenager, going through weird changes and shit, and if not, I could totally handle it myself. No big deal. Pfft, whatever. Then, when I was about 20 years old, in 2015, things started to take a dark turn. I seemingly lost the ability to hide whenever I would feel bad. I would get more frequent mood swings. I wanted to be by myself all the time. I used to have a group of friends that I would hang out with every weekend, and I found myself either not wanting to hang out with them because I didn't want to burden them with my bullshit, or trying to hang out with them so that they didn't think I was trying to avoid them, only to be quiet and distant and standoffish when I was around them, effectively making things worse for myself and everyone around me. It became a vicious cycle of hang out with friends so that they don't think I'm trying to avoid them, feel worse when I was around them, oh shit, I feel so bad, oh no, they know I'm feeling a certain type of way, oh no, everything's awkward now, what the fuck is wrong with me, abort mission. It wasn't fun. Ever hear of the phrase, alone but not lonely? Yeah. I would wake up feeling like I had no energy. Every day sucked and was a struggle to get through. I pretty much felt like I was just drifting through the dark, cold, desolate ocean known as life, drifting into the void with no escape, spiraling into insanity, into nothingness. Anyway, for those who are curious, the best way I can describe the depression that I went/go through, or the best way to personify it, is that it feels like my head is being enveloped in this dark haze. My brain gets all cloudy, and it's hard to think straight. My mind tends to focus on all the negative aspects of my life. I start becoming hypercritical of myself. My chest feels heavy and it feels like I can't catch my breath. I fall into this dark place where nothing matters. I don't matter. I'm a piece of shit person for whatever reason, and that there's no point to anything. I hate the world, I hate myself, and no matter what I do, I will never be good enough. Good enough at what? Good enough at anything. My natural inclination upon making relationships is that the person shouldn't waste their time on me because I'm just not good enough. Why would anybody be nice to me when I'm not worth being nice to? All of this is what goes through my head. So by now you must be still thinking, how the hell does Bloodborne come into this mess? Around this time, a game called, well, Bloodborne came out. I picked it up at midnight, opening midnight release on midnight at 12 AM on midnight, and I played it a lot. Like, I wouldn't stop playing it. Yeah, it's a good game. I made a whole video about why I think it's perfect and how much I love it, but it goes deeper than that. I've played good games before, games that I didn't want to put down. Kingdom Hearts 2, Bioshock 1 and Bioshock Infinite, Persona 5, the first prototype, the Infamous series, other games that I can't think of off the top of my head at the moment of writing this video and don't feel like going through my games catalog to figure out what I'm trying to talk about. But Bloodborne was different. It's still different. I still play it all the time. I'm in the middle of a Let's Play series of it because the game is so important to me. But why is that? Bloodborne, to me, is a game all about overcoming a challenge and never giving up no matter how hard things get. The game has the player adventuring through a dark, desolate, depressing world with carnage and blood and murder and terrifying nightmare abominations. You fight larger-than-life monsters that will kill you if you fuck up or make the wrong move. It's a man, the hunter, or a woman depending on what you chose, fighting and never giving up so that he, she, they, them can overcome and defeat their foes. And I thought about it. That's what I have to do. I have to fight back. My mind is trying to push me down and defeat me, so to speak, and I'm not just going to give up. I have to fight back and win. I have to get that prey slaughtered screen in real life, but metaphorically. And that's what I did. That dark cloud I mentioned earlier, I pretended that it was some crazy Bloodborne boss, and whenever I found myself falling into a dark place, I would picture myself fighting it. It sounds silly, but it's true, and it worked. After so much time doing this, I started to feel better and I felt less shitty. I changed the way I behaved. I tried new things at school. I got myself out there and started participating in extra things. I got involved in a bunch of clubs at my college and made a whole lot of new friends. Now, this is literally me just training my brain and my thought process into thinking more positively. I mean, it's not like I was really fighting some big scary cloud monster doing visceral attacks on its ass. But when you're in that state of mind, depressed, and feeling like shit all the time, you don't really tend to think, oh, I'll just start thinking more positively and I'll feel better, no problem. And even if you do, it's hard to break the mold and start doing it. But putting into terms that you can understand and wrap your head around makes it way easier. When you want to think more positively about life and pulling yourself out of that depressed mindset, the idea of doing that gets overwhelming. You don't even know where to start, and then you don't start at all, and then you don't make any progress, and then you get this weird, odd comfort from being sad that you know you shouldn't feel, but you kind of feel anyway, and then you start feeling guilty about it, and then you start getting more depressed. It's really hard to break out of that. I was playing Bloodborne all the time. I was so good at the game after playing it so much that when it came time for me to mix it into my actual life, it became a battle that I was used to having. Thinking about overcoming my depression in terms that I knew I could handle made the act of actually doing it more manageable. Depression sucks, and it's a very serious illness, and a lot of people go through it, like a scary amount of people go through depression, but it's not the end of the world. I know that everyone goes through depression differently. In fact, I still go through it. It's one of the shitty things about depression. It doesn't go away, but you can learn how to manage it and not have it take over your life, and you can learn how to just deal with it, essentially. So my advice to anyone who may be listening to this, or to anyone who cares or even wants advice, is to just give it a try. Talk to a therapist that you trust, find a game, a movie, show, comic, anime, piece of music, anything that you think can help you out. It might work for you just like it did for me. Oh, and one more thing. I didn't, and I still don't, take medication for depression. I'm a very mind over matter type of person, and I wanted to handle this myself. But with that being said, if you feel like you should take medication to help you out, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with a little help. Oh, and one more thing. If you're suffering from depression, don't be afraid to talk to someone to get help. I did. I talked to a therapist for over a year. Bloodborne helped me manage my depression, but talking to a therapist helped me figure out what was bothering me and helped me get to the source of my depression. It helped me just understand what was wrong and helped me understand myself better. So go talk to somebody, whether it be a loved one or a professional. Admitting that you're going through something is not weakness. It takes more strength and guts to admit when something's wrong than it does to keep it to yourself.